This video is going to help twin flames and divine unions to manifest their higher self-specific person by showing you 5 traps to avoid when wanting to call in your sacred relationship. My name is Adam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am very passionate about helping twin flames come together and helping to align divine union partnerships on planet Earth because I think it's time. But first, we want to understand some of the pitfalls of the things that we do when we're coming from a place of attachment. Before we dive into the video today, I want to let you know I'm doing free breakthrough calls. There is a link pinned in the comment section below. These are calls where we will go into your vision, what's stopping you, and the steps you can take to step fully into your power and into your light. Now, let's begin. So briefly, my soul, and I know this is going to sound crazy to some people, and I don't really care anymore. My soul, or me, I lost my twin flame a long time ago, like before I came to planet Earth. She made the decision to recycle, which is basically like a soul death. I mean, it's not a death because she went back to become part of like the all that is on the highest level. But this was absolutely devastating to me. And it's from what I've heard, one of the most devastating things anyone can really go through because, you know, in a human life, when you lose someone you're in love with, it's very sad. It's very tragic. But on some level, the soul knows that the person's not really gone. That soul still exists. You'll see them again at some point in time. But when the soul, on a soul level, decides to recycle, it can be so inconceivably devastating. It's just impossible to even describe or understand. And that is actually, I'll tell this story some other time in detail, but how I ended up on the planet, it was basically through free falling. And it was only until really this life that on all dimensions of my existence, I got to this wound and really healed it. So I know a lot about the twin flame journey, and I know a lot about the divine union partnership journey, especially like some of these things that we do when we're coming from attachment and pain and really wanting to create this, because I've been through them all. So what I want to cover now are 5 things to avoid when manifesting your souls at your higher self's specific person. Number 1, attempting to do anything like spell-oriented or like putting an energy ball in their third eye. I've seen this advertised in YouTube videos, and I would highly recommend against this. First off, it's not going to work if you want to create a true sacred divine union relationship because you're manipulating them. You're attempting to control their thoughts. You're putting energy into their space with the intention to get a particular outcome. You're not respecting their free will. You're not trusting that the best outcome will occur. And what that's going to do is backfire in all sorts of ways. And I would check in with yourself and ask, if you really love this person, why do you need them to behave in a particular way? Because that's not free will and it's not true love. The number 2 thing to avoid: praying with deep attachment for a specific outcome. Okay? When we pray with deep attachment, what we're doing is we're creating these quantum entanglements that are very non-beneficial. And you're essentially telling the universe that you're not really ready to be in a truly aligned relationship. And so what you're doing is you're entangling with situations and scenarios that are going to come into your life to help you break that attachment, which ultimately is a positive thing. But these things can be very, very painful because it aligns you with all sorts of fake synchronicities, bad psychic advice. I've been through this, where intuitives will tell you this is your person, and it isn't, because you're coming from this place of attachment and you're drawing in the lessons needed to break the attachment and then bring up the pain, bring up the grief, and then you process that out. So if you're going to pray, I would highly suggest praying always for the highest good of all. If you really love the other person, you will pray for them to be in their best, highest timeline and their happiest version of themselves, which may include them walking off into the sunset with somebody else, as much as that sucks. But know that the more that you do this, the more you are actually aligning yourself with your higher self's specific person for you, because you're showing the universe that you are truly divinely ready. Number 3 thing to avoid: thinking that you know who your specific person is. Now, this is tricky because sometimes we do. You know, I can't cover every scenario that could ever occur in a YouTube video. There are always going to be people that are like, well, I knew who my specific person was, and they weren't available for 2 years. And then after 2 years, we aligned and we've been together and we're super happy and everything's amazing. Of course, this is going to happen. But generally, the mind does not have a fucking clue. And when you do know, that tends to be like a deeper intuitive knowing. When the mind starts to really form an opinion on it, again, it creates this really deep attachment and desire and need to control the outcome. So even if you were right, when they do show up, there's going to be a lot of issues there too, because you're going to have an attachment then, and it's going to be even more pronounced. And then every time they go off or go out for the evening, you're going to be like super jealous and worried that they're cheating on you. It's not going to be an aligned, sacred dynamic. And if you really want that, you're probably not going to even call the person in yet anyway. The number 4 block: trying to get your specific person to love you and want to be with you by thinking that they are in love with you and wanting to be with you. I see this advertised also. It's a very subtle, surreptitious way of trying to manipulate someone and trying to control them. It's not exactly black magic, but it's black magic-ish, okay? So if Coca-Cola is black magic, this is like the Diet Zevia of black magic. Now, it is true that people think about you what you think about you. It is true that people feel about you what you feel about you. But if you're doing this from a place of manipulation, even subtly in trying to control the outcome, in some way you are intending to mess with their thoughts and their energy, and that is not a pure, sacred connection. And the other thing here is that you can't, just because you are thinking, oh, this person's in love with me and everything is a mirror and a reflection of what I think, that's not entirely true, because they have their own free will choices to make. They are their own sovereign being and their own sovereign soul. And their soul will override that if it's truly in alignment, and it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to work. It still may not be your right person. So if you want to think something, think that you're amazing, have a deep love for yourself, and have no attachment to who thinks that about you or not. Because when you want a specific person to think a certain way about you, again, that's fear, that's trauma, that's attachment. And the number 5 block or trap to look out for when manifesting your higher self specific person is really any outward focus whatsoever. Okay, divine union partnerships are kind of new on the planet. And they come when it's time. The right person will come when it's time. And they will be brought to you by your higher self, regardless of what the fuck your mind does. That which is meant for you cannot miss you. You may be guided at the right time to go onto a dating site and meet the person there, but ultimately, it basically will just show up and come in out of nowhere when it's right. The state that you want to be in is deep and true faith and self-love. That is 5D. That is divine love, having complete faith in the universe, and that the universe has your back, not because you're manifesting the situations and scenarios that you want to manifest, in spite of whether or not you are, in spite of whether or not it's showing up as you want it to, knowing that regardless of anything, you love yourself completely, you are completely whole, and you know it's going to be okay because you are a sovereign, divine creator being, and so is your partner. And when you reflect that within yourself and you have that space within yourself and you hold that space for somebody else, then it's time. Then it will happen. And then, because you're not attached, it will be either what you want it to be or better than you ever could imagine. Please let me know what you think of this. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments section. If you want a little extra help clearing some of these attachments, I have a free energy clearing you can download. It's in the description below. I thank you very much for watching. I look forward to next time. Peace.